Hi guys, today we're going to talk about the basic compositions of functions. Again, let's go over some terminology. This f of x is the name of my function, and this function is the x plus 3. This is the name of the g function, and its function is the 3x squared plus 1. Again, these are just names. They don't do anything. Just tells me which one is which. I do want to point out, do you see how there's an x in this parenthesis? And it matches your variable. Again, there's an x in this parenthesis, and it matches your variable. So when I see something written like this, f of 4, and that's how you would read that, f of 4, notice how 4 is replacing where x was. And that's exactly what I'd like you to do in the equation, is I would like you to take 4 and replace x with it. So you go to the f function. You see that the f function is x plus 3. You're going to make this 4 plus 3, and you're going to tell me that's 7. And that would be your answer. Okay? So when I come over here, and it's g of negative 2, again, notice the negative 2 is replacing the x. So go into your function and replace the x in the function with negative 2. This is 3 times negative 2 squared plus 1. This is 3 times 4 plus 1. That's 12 plus 1. Your answer would be 13. Okay? So that's a very simple, basic way. So when we plug in numbers, that's how this would work. All right, so let's go over some notation. So this is composition notation. Let me write that at the top. Composition notation. It is denoted by that circle. Do you see how that circle is open? It's between F and G. It might look like you're spelling the word fog. It's over here, not a closed circle. It's not filled in. It's open. That's telling me I'm taking one function and I'm plugging it into another function. Okay. When doing that, this x on the outside is there for show. It has no bearing on the actual equation itself. So using an open circle is one way to do it. The other way to do it is like this, where I put the g inside of the parentheses of the f. Okay, so it's like I'm putting one inside another. If I were to read this one here, it's f of g of x. That's how I would read this. If I were to work with something like this, I would do the g. So I would plug whatever I needed to into g first and then into f. Okay, this is just another way of writing it. This says g of f. Again, that's the way I would read it. G of f of x. All right, and then again, you could write it with the parentheses. And if I was to do this problem and work it, I would do the f function first, and then I would do the g. So let's look at some examples. I have two new f and g's at the top. This says f of g of 0. So this is just like before where we were plugging in a number. But what's going to happen is I'm going to take that 0 and I'm going to plug it into the g function first. So I go to my g function, and I'm going to say, okay, f of whatever this is going to end up being. And I'm going to put a 0 in. And then this is f of that 0 minus 1, so f of negative 1. Okay, so now I have this new equation. All right, so the second step tells me that I want to take negative 1 and plug it into f. So then I'm going to go 1 over negative 1 minus 1. This is 1 over negative 2. And that is my final answer. If I were to do f of g of 0, I would get 1 over negative 2, or negative 1/2. So let's try it again over here. Notice the order is different. G of f of 3. This is telling me take 3 and plug it into my G, or into my F. Okay, so G's on the outside. And this is 1 over 3 minus 1. This is G of 1/2. So now I take that and I plug it into the G function. 2 times 1/2 minus 1. That's a -1 minus 1, -2. So this is your -2. That's your whole answer. Okay? So here's another one. I just wanted to show you that we could do, sounds weird, but f of -4. So what that's asking you to do is take -4, plug it into f, get an answer, take that answer, plug it into f again, and that's your final answer. So we're going to do, this becomes f of, this is 2 times 4. So this is f of 8 minus 3, or f of 5, okay? And then we're going to do it again. So now it's 2 times something minus 3. So we're going to put 5. This is 10 minus 3, or 7, and 7 is my answer. And then we're going to do it for G, and this time I wrote it differently, just so you could see the different notation. This says G of G of -2. So what this is telling me is do this part first. So I'm going to take -2 and plug it into G, get that answer, and then plug it into G again. So G is going to end up being, we put the first one in, so let's do -2 there. This is G of 4 plus 2, or G of 6. Then we're going to do it again, squared plus 2. Put my new number in. That's 36 plus 2, or 38. So if I were to do G of -2, the answer would be 38. If you have any questions, let me know. Join one of our Google Meets for class, and you can always ask me questions there. Email me, or of course I do after-school assistance on Mondays and Tuesdays. Thanks, guys.